Welcome to the PROFIBUS Monitoring and Troubleshooting webinar. My name is Todd Preeter. I will be your presenter today. To start out, I'd like to talk about a classification of diagnostic products. Essentially, when we classify the products, we have to decide, when, where, and how we will use these products. There are various products on the market to do these things, and actually, for today's conversation, we're going to really focus on this XEPI 2 product. However, there are some other things that could fall into play as well. Are we going to do ad hoc measurement, meaning are we going to connect up at one site real quickly, or do we want to have permanent monitoring? Where do we want to monitor? Do we want to do it right at the machine, or do we want to have a central location that we can monitor? And then how do we want to display the information? Do we want to display it independently, or do we want to integrate it into some SCADA system or HMI package? So today we're going to focus again on this XEPI 2 tool, but there are other tools, the PROFIBUS Scope product, which actually gives us more of an ad hoc measurement, and then there's actually an OPC server product, which allows us to integrate this stuff into an OPC server. So when we talk about predictive maintenance, we have to discuss why would we do predictive maintenance, or what's the real reason for it. We want to make sure that the plant has high availability, essentially. We want to automatically monitor malfunctions before the problem actually occurs. We want to integrate the monitoring into the existing structures of our plant if possible, and basically have efficient error analysis. If you look at it from a commissioning standpoint, we want to basically provide high communication quality, be able to detect any installation problems, and have reliable communications from the data commissioning. And then from a servicing and maintenance standpoint, we'd like to be able to predictively determine if there's going to be a problem so that we can detect an error early and respond quickly. So if we look at the challenges to maintenance, in a normal operation of a system, if a fault occurs, it actually goes through a series of events. First, there's some sort of an irregularity that occurs. That irregularity will then result in a problem happening with the system. That problem will typically result in a failure, which will provide an alert. And once that alert occurs, then we go back and identify the cause of the alert. We look for our tool, we go to the machine, connect the tool, and basically do ad hoc diagnostics, which allows us to troubleshoot and test and then get the machine back up and running. So how do we identify the network problems at an earlier point in time? How can we react more quickly in case of the problems and avoid failures? And how do we save costs and time during operation? If we really look at that, we're trying to circumvent and try to eliminate this end here, the problem and the failure, by predictively determining if there's an issue. So we can do that actually using this product across XEPI 2 because it will generate an alert in an email or a message, and when that alert is generated, we can then evaluate the message, recommend a course of action, and do our troubleshooting and testing, and get the machine up and running, and thus eliminate the problem from occurring and the failure from occurring, and all of the other steps that are involved with that. The idea behind the tool is that we are doing permanent PROFIBUS monitoring. So if you look here, we've got a PROFIBUS network connected up to an XEPI 2 tool, which is connected to Ethernet. Actually, there's a couple of them shown in the picture. Just to kind of mention, it has a PROFIBUS port on it, and it has an Ethernet port on it. Those two ports provide our connectivity. The Ethernet network is then also connected to the Internet, so that we could remotely troubleshoot a system if we needed to, or connect to multiple sites. And if an error were to occur on our PROFIBUS network, a message would come from the XEPI 2 and go out either to a web client locally, or maybe out to the Internet and go to maybe a phone, a smartphone or something, or a remote diagnostic client of some sort. At that point, we would log into our tool using the Internet Explorer or any web browser, type in the IP address, and connect up, and we'll be able to see a display of what's actually occurring. The idea behind the tool is that it's a simple, quick, easy way to get at the data. So there's 4 levels of display: a network overview, a Profibus overview, a master overview, and a slave overview. And then we have 4 detailed information views: the diagnostic list, a live list, bus statistics, and error statistics. And I'll show those in the live demo here in just a little bit. We can also do some recording of physical parameters. So using a diagnostic repeater from Siemens, we can actually determine if we have any issues on different segments of our network. We can actually look at reflection rates, error rates, information on the distance to a failure location, that type of thing. And we also have the ability to utilize this product in conjunction with Profibus PA to display all the communicating stations, whether or not those stations have diagnostics or if they have failed. So the idea and the real benefit of this product is it gives you an overview of the plant status in one single glance. In fact, we can connect up a bunch of these devices to, let's say 10 different Profibus networks, and utilizing one IP address, access data from all 10 systems. We can clearly see what's going on with the status that's set up and provide early detection of irregularities. There's actually some tips on there so that it tells you what to do possibly, and it's very easy to find the problems using this. When we talk about the Profibus Diagnostics, again, there's really 2 different levels. There's the permanent monitoring, which is what this XEPI tool does. It's going to identify a critical Profibus issue quickly and give you kind of a first alert situation. And then if you utilize the Profibus Scope product in conjunction with this, you can actually connect up and using the GSD files actually get complex fault diagnostics, actually see the telegrams going across the Profibus network, do comparison measurements, acceptance tests, and that type of stuff. And then the other product that's kind of an important thing to just mention is there is an OPC server for the Cross EPI 2 or the XEPI 2. This OPC server will allow you to connect up to multiple devices and then actually get that diagnostic data back into a SCADA system, an HMI system, maybe some Office type system, even back to Excel if you wanted to. And that information that it's going to give you is, which slaves are live or working, which master is active, which slave has diagnostic information. That's using OPC data access. And then using OPC alarm and events, we can actually get the diagnostics in plain text from the GSD file, device and network failure information, detailed display of the failures, with timestamp information, and identification of physical malfunctions, looking at the diagnostic components like a repeater. So that being said, what I did is I actually set up a demo system here, and I created a Step 7 project. And that Step 7 project has an S7317 CPU and a handful of I/O devices listed over here, and the diagnostic repeater connected in. One thing you'll note when you see this screen is there is no XEPI 2 icon showing up. It's because it's a passive device and does not show or need any configuration in Step 7. It just sits there and listens to the Profibus network. So with that said, let's switch over to a live demo.